In any case, I think these would be shrines, Syrian shrines. And he calls them Aram, and the people of Aram shall go captive. They're going to be captive too, but probably the Syrians in the end. Okay, so they're going to get theirs for what they did. Back to the formula. For 3 crimes and for 4 of Gaza. We know about Gaza today on the way to Egypt. I have made my decree and will not relent, because they deported whole nations as slaves to Edom. I would assume that we're talking about Philistine days. I'm going to hurl fire on the walls of Gaza. I'm going to burn her palaces. I'm going to cut down the enshrined one at Ashkelon. These are all Philistine cities. I'm going to, the scepted one at Ashkelon. All these are Philistine cities along the coast. I'm going to turn my hand against Ekron until the last Philistine is dead, says the Lord. Now, it looks like either they've recently been destroyed or are about to be destroyed in Amos' time. So the Philistines are going to get wiped away, according to Amos, and they seem to have been done. You know, they're all, no Philistines left except Palestinians. Phoenicia and Tyre. The Phoenicians. This is 700, so the Phoenicians are not the big kings of the heap they may have been in the 1000s. For 3 crimes and for 4, Tyre, which still exists in Lebanon, I have made my decree and will not relent, because you have deported entire nations as slaves to Edom. Edom seems to be getting all the, deportations here across the desert into the Jordan area, southern Jordan. And have not remembered the covenant of brotherhood. I'm going to hurl fire on the walls of Tyre and burn her palaces. Everyone's going to go down in smoke. This is pretty Bin Ladenish. For 3 crimes and for 4, Edom I have made, and Edom's going to get it too. I will not relent. Edom is a relative, don't forget, Esau's people, because he persecuted his brother with the sword. There it is. But in fact, I didn't know that Esau persecuted Jacob to any extent. But the nation, he's talking about the nation. Stifling his pity, nursing his fury, cherishing his rage, I'm going to hurl fire on these 2 towns, Teman and Bozrah, and burn their palaces, which are seen to be capital sort of cities of the Edomites. Ammon, for 3 crimes and for 4, Ammon, I have made my decree and will not relent, because they disemboweled the pregnant women of Gilead. So Gilead was attacked from both sides, Damascus and from Gilead. And they obviously did some bad stuff there. In order to extend their own frontiers, I'm going to light a fire against the wall of Rabbah to burn up her palaces. Even to this day, the Jews call the capital of Jordan Rabbath Ammon, which is the Rabbah in Ammon. And the Jordanians call the capital what? Ammon. Ammon is from Ammon. That's what it's from. That's where it is. So the sound of war cries on the day of battle amid storms, on the day of hurricane, their king shall go into exile, and he has princes with him. So this is all bad news for everybody. Moab, another of the Transjordan, across the Dead Sea. For 3 crimes and for 4, Moab, I have made my decree and will not relent, because you burned the bones of the king of Edom for lying. And then this condemnation as well for what they do to each other. Not just what they do to Israelites or Jews or anyone else, the way they behave generally. I'm going to hurl fire on Moab and burn up the palaces of Kiryat, and Moab shall die in tumult to the sound of war cries and the blare of trumpets. I will cut down the chieftain inside her, another god, obviously, and slaughter all her princes with him, says Yahweh. Now Judah. It's not a big condemnation Judah gets. The biggest condemnation is being reserved for who? Israel's the big one. See, these are mostly formulaic. He doesn't know a lot what to say about these surrounding countries. And Judah, for 3 crimes before, I made my decree, because you rejected the law of Yahweh and did not keep his teachings, because you had false gods, and which were led astray. I'm going to hurl fire on Judah to burn up the palace of Jerusalem. It's not a very big vision. On the other hand, it is for the Mosaic law and their lack of keeping it. Okay, now Israel. This is really why we're reading Amos, because of what he says about Israel. And this is going to go on into chapter 3, 4, and so on. Probably all the way, it's going to go almost on to the end of the book, which is 9 chapters. But we've only started here. We're only in chapter 2. This is the first written prophet. And here's what they do. Yahweh says this: for 3 crimes and for 4, Israel, I have made my decree of. Now you have to understand, when he says Israel, he doesn't mean Judah. When he says Judah, he doesn't mean Israel. A lot of people who don't understand the history, we just send it forth, just think they're talking about the same thing. No, they're not talking about the same thing. I will not relent, and here's what they've done: because they sold the virtuous man for silver, and the poor man for a pair of sandals. Because they trample on the heads of the ordinary people, you may have cited the translation, and push the poor out of their path, because there's wealth in the north, you see. And because father and son have resorted to the same woman, girl, profaning my holy name. Because they stretch themselves out by every altar of the local shrines, and clothes acquired as pledge and drink wine of the people they have found in the house of their God. Yet it was I overthrew the Amorites when they attacked, then tall as cedars and strong as oaks. So the Amorites used to live there. I had destroyed them, both fruit above the ground and root below. It was I who brought you out of the land of Egypt. So Israel was brought out of the land of Egypt, according to Amos. And for 40 years led you through the wilderness, took possession of the Amorite country. I raised up prophets from your sons and Nazarites from your young men. Is this not true, sons of Israel? So, Amos, whoever denies the Exodus, has to read Amos, because in 750 BC, he already knows about it and considers it fact. If this is an authentic, untampered with document, which so far I don't see any reason to think it isn't. But you forced the Nazarites, the people who don't drink wine, to drink wine, and gave orders to the prophet, do not prophesy. Okay, this is what's going to happen to you, big shot. I'm going to crush you into the ground, and the threshing sledge crushes with clods straw. Fight will not save, even the swift. Flight will not save. The strong man will have no strength. The mighty man will be powerless. The bowman will not stand.